You love a good documentary. You know, this is right up your alley. The Enigma, Aaron Rodgers. How much are you looking forward to this, and how much does this documentary perhaps further a narrative that Aaron Rodgers just doesn't care about football anymore?
All right, Jason. I remember a time when people used to go to movies, me specifically. You get there a half hour early, and then about an hour later, after all the previews, the actual movie starts. And then, they always play those 6 previews, right? The trailers. And in your mind, you're like thinking, maybe. Oh, that's a depth. But anytime a rom-com or anything with Hugh Grant came on, you're like, hard pass. Hard pass, not for me. Forget about it. As I saw the trailer that you're referring to, 5 seconds in, I'm just thinking to myself, I am not going to A. Rodgers and chill. No. And this confirms my suspicions that as much as I admire Aaron Rodgers, as much as I thought about him as a player at one point, he's done. And so speaking of movies, I have an analogy of one of my favorite scenes because I think it's actually very true to the real sport of boxing. We all have watched Rocky III. Great movie. Great montage, Eye of the Tiger, Clubber Lang played by Mr. T. There's a scene that I always refer to, and me and Mario talk about it a lot on the 3 knockdown rule, when a fighter really is kind of checked out in his own way. Do you remember after the statue ceremony where Clubber Lang came up on Rocky and said, "You're ducking me, you're ducking and dodging," and he told Adrian, "Hey, woman, you want a real man?" Okay, anyway. And then Mickey said, "All right, I'm out. This is a clown show." And he starts packing his bags. He's going to go out there. He's moving away from the big palatial estate. And Rocky said to Mickey, well, what do you mean? You're not going to train me anymore? And he said to him, the worst thing happened to you that can happen to a fighter. You got civilized. I believe Aaron Rodgers got hippified. I'm being dead serious. And football, you're right, does not have to be your number one priority 20 years in. I get that. But as a quarterback, you are the most important guy in that building, even more so than the head coach, because you actually are a player. And Bill Walsh once explained it to his team that when you have the football in your hands, you have the hopes and the dreams and the aspirations and the job security of the coaches, your fellow players. And then you have the emotions of the fans, the city. You got to care about it. And I honestly think it still has to be your first priority if you want to be a franchise quarterback. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers got hippified.
I love that analogy. I'm shocked that you're not going to want to watch this documentary. I'm shocked. Butter, you looking forward to it?
I am. I think Aaron is kind of this modern day athlete. I think it's going to be interesting. I think he's an interesting person. We're trying to partial between what he's doing as a quarterback in today's NFL and what he was when he came into the league. He's been here long enough that the NFL has shifted, social media has shifted. I kind of put the blame on the coaching staff, the league, and sort of them allowing him to have this much power. You know what I mean? Like a player doesn't do this if they, should he not do this because he's all in? Maybe, but this isn't. But I will say this. He hasn't talked to his family in 10 years. He hasn't spoke to his parents or his 2 brothers in 10 years. This dude is a different dude. There is something different about Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of here for it.
Let's be honest. The insurance model is broken. Crowd Health puts your health care back in your hands. Use the promo code FEARLESS at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, promo code FEARLESS. I could wait until after he's done playing to find out to solve this mystery.
That's not today's athlete. That's not the way that it operates anymore.
Jason, let me clarify one thing. Because you got me thinking. I'm going to give this 10 minutes. I have a 10-minute rule. If 10 minutes in, I don't like it, I just cut out. I have a choice to say I'm going to watch something differently. It's like some of these 30 for 30s in recent years that have a political or a woke bent. I give it 10 minutes, and generally I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. Like there are certain 30 for 30s, like they're coming up with one of the New York Sack Exchange, the great defensive line of the Jets, all in. But there have been some other ones where I'm like, okay, this has an agenda. It's very political, and I end up checking out. So I will give it a shot. Let me just, for the record, I'm going to give it 10 minutes.
I don't have a 10. I probably got a 1 minute rule. I can tune out a movie or in about 1 minute.
You don't think it'd be interesting with this? We're already talking about it. I just think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but I'm so disappointed by the way this is ending for Aaron Rodgers that it's taking the shine off. I was a big champion of his during the whole vaccine deal. I like the fact that he's got an independent voice. He's not just saying what the machine is saying. But when you take a check from Netflix and you get into bed with Netflix,
yeah,
I just have a suspicion this is going to be pretty woke, and I'll probably find out some things about Aaron Rodgers that I don't want to find out.
Butter, let me just say this, and I just listened to the interview with Sid Rosenberg, iconic figure in New York media. He says it best. This has been a disappointment. Look, if I'm a New York Jet fan, which fortunately I'm not, I want to say that my quarterback is committed. I don't want to say after a 3-14 season, well, Aaron didn't play well, but God, he's so interesting and eclectic. I don't want eclectic. I want a guy that is the first in, last out. I've told you this before, Jason. One of the great things that I loved about Tom Brady, and I've seen footage of this, when he would go on vacation, one of the things that he would actually pack is not just his football to throw around and work out. He would actually bring his pads and his helmet, and he'd be on some beach resort, $1,500 a day hotel room, and he'd be like throwing out routes, and he'd actually wear his pads and his helmet to simulate a game. And I'm thinking to myself, that's commitment. That's probably why Giselle looked at him like, oh, God. Oh, where's the jiu-jitsu guy? But that's what you wanted. I wanted a happy ending for Aaron Rodgers where he could lift the Lombardi trophy, and all of the media members that were against him for political and social reasons had to eat crow. Unfortunately, Jason, this is not one of those happy endings.
It's not. We'll get video footage of probably him smoking weed and doing other drugs. And anyway, don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.